Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our colleagues, our attendants. Thank you for coming and coming tonight to our second webiESOP organization. My name is Ahmet Bosnak. I'm the Vice President of the European Society for Oncology Pharmacy, and tonight we will be together with Klaus Meier, our lovely President, and with Professor Matti Aapro. I will introduce him later deeply. First of all, you know, we are making a survey for nearly more than 2 months, and so we have lots of information we collected. Weekly, every Monday night, we are coming together and we are sharing our results with you to understand how it's going on about the COVID virus pandemic and how is it going, especially with our colleagues. And today we will give the results of 11 to 17 of May, last week. We have 93 totally answers for this survey of 1 week. And now I'm giving the floor and the microphone to our President, Klaus Meier, to introduce you these results. Klaus?
Yes. Can you hear me? I hope so.
Everything is fine.
Yes. So can you give me the floor with my screen, and probably I can show the slides. Is it possible?
Yes, we can see your screen now. And also you can control it, I think. Have you got a problem?
You can see my screen. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Because I cannot see my own. Okay. Thanks a lot. So tonight again, in the recent information, I want to focus mostly tonight on 4 points. I want to focus on the situation of healthcare workers. I want to focus on the special situation regarding the degrees of treatments related to cancer patients as well. In the end, I wanted to touch that point, what is mostly discussed by us, but again, the situation of 4 points are most in our focus. So at the beginning, I want that next time UK tries to follow us, so we would be very happy about. We had uh, uh, response as usually, but we see that we missed a little bit from the Maghreb, but probably they will follow us the next time. In addition, we have grown number in Pakistan as well, highly grown number in Japan. As you know, that the invitation for our work was translated into 28 languages, was provided from us to all our delegates. I think they had the chance to inform their members as well. And finally, we have South America from our base in Chile and Colombia as well. So when we see that the first question about the situation of workers in healthcare, you see this comparable number of changes in infecting of our members. And you see with a small peak, lower peak the last week, we see that the number of being infected, being related to infection in our working area is quite similar high. In this case, I will focus later on the answer. This is giving the different number. That's 31% have said that there's infection in their working area and not. You see who is thus serving us in this questionnaire, around about nearly 100 participants, mostly hospital pharmacists, but also a great number of community pharmacists, medical doctors as well. So when we come to the question, how many general beds we are caring for, you see that this is spreading all numbers of hospitals, what are reflected here. So we have big hospitals, nearly 20%, but as well, we have also very small hospitals. As well, related then to the oncology beds in the hospitals, we see that the 20 others who have no oncology treatment. Of those who have oncology treatment, there are more than 20 oncology beds in the hospital. So that means it's a unit what is working hardly to treat cancer patients. As well, the question how many outpatient treatment places are there. You see it's more than 20. It's the biggest number of them who have ambulatory treatment, not only stationary treatment. As well, when we see that in this case related this situation to the general issue in the hospitals themselves, we see that there is a growing number of those who have been isolated in general stations in this week. As well, when we say 36 has nothing, but the others had isolation patients as well. And then as well, the question, how much of them have intensive care unit treatment? And you see this number is also around about 60%. So that means that we have to ask what kind of influence gives us to the treatment. That means what is with the planned operations of cancer patient? Is that decrease or increasing? So we see 46 say no, there was no influence, but more than 46, so more than 54 say yes, it was an influence and it was growing influence. As well, we see when this was a new question this time, did the number of chemopreparation decrease compared to the month of January? We said the number of January, mostly of all participants, maybe not China as well, but this was not the case, but of the others would be set as 100. So what about then the degrees of IV treatment? And you see, from month to month, the number of the increasing number of not given treatments has been shown. That shows that there's an influence on the treatment of cancer patients related then to our service, what we have to deliver IV preparations as well. And also the question about the treatment of necessary drugs for the corona patient. We had 30% who said yes, and we know that is mostly medicine for intubation, what was needed in this way, because the shortage of these special drugs has been occurred quickly in Europe. So therefore, the question, what is necessary for the treatment of cancer patients? Is there a shortage? And we see 50% say no, but 50% say yes, and with a growing number. Coming back to the to the question how we save our workers, and that was a question: have they enough personal equipment to save themselves? And you see that 13% said they had nothing, and 30% said something. So that means only a little bit more than 50% were really in safe conditions. As well, when we ask where comes it from, we know that sometimes government is giving a support in deliver and mask and other things. So we see that a huge number, nearly 50%, have to provide it by their own the equipment and have no support from the government. That means, do we have enough to save and serve our patients? And we see that there's also a number of 16% who say no, we don't have it. So that means not ourselves we can save as well, the patient as well as it needs. And have you then, and finally the question of shortage in delay of distribution of industrial production in general, and this is a huge number, what gives us again a push to work harder on it. 66% say yes, we have a medicine shortage, delays in distribution due to industrial production problems. So that means it gives us an answer about the drug shortage. It gives us an answer about how the degrees of treatment, special treatment of cancer patient was influenced by the COVID. It gives us an answer how safe our workers are in these conditions. And this is not an answer where I can say I could be satisfied with. I see that progress has been done. I see that there's a deliverance possible. I see that the industry is trying to build up new plants, but our votum to say who will sell in Europe, shall produce in Europe, is still a main issue, what we have to say. I heard from the healthcare ministers, they met this week together, and I heard that from July, when the German Ministry of Health shall be the head of the EU, the ministry range. So he said this to bring back the industry to Europe will be one of these main issues he will fight for. And I think this is a good issue that we see that the people and the political responsibilities wake up. So thank you very much for this following of the situation. And I think as long as we go further until June, we will deliver more statistically information would help us to influence also political people and to show them the reality and no fakes. This is the reality of our people. We can say where they come from, especially as anonymously. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Klaus. Yes, you are right. It's so important. We are giving much more importance for this survey, because if you are not counting something, you cannot change something. And so we must know how it's going on. And it will be maybe open a very big road to us to change something, to recognize something, to understand and to rate the problem. Thank you so much, Klaus. And now, after this nice presentation, I want to go one step further. Tonight we have a very, very important person in our list, and we will listen lots of things from him. Professor Matti Aapro. Matti Aapro is very, very important for us. Why? Because he is very close to the cancer and also very close to the COVID-19. And so I think we will listen very important thing from him. But before giving before giving the microphone to Professor Aapro, I want to introduce him to you a little bit deeply. Matti Aapro is a member of the board of directors of the Genolayer Cancer Center from Switzerland, and is president of the European Cancer Organization. He received his medical degree from a Faculty of Medicine, University of Genoa, Switzerland, and was a fellow at the Arizona Cancer Center in Tucson, Arizona, United States. He was the founding chair of the Medical and Radiation Therapy Department at the European Institute of Oncology in Milan. Dr. Aapro is presently executive board member of the European School of Oncology, ESO, coordinating the activities of ESO in Arab-speaking countries and in Latin America. He leads the Sharing Progress in Cancer Care Association. He serves the International Society of Geriatric Oncology as executive board member. He is past president of the Multinational Association for Supportive Care in Cancer, MASCC. He is president of honor of the French-speaking Society for Supportive Care, as well as advisor to the Japanese Association for Supportive Care in Cancer. He has been member of the board of the European Organization for Research and Treatment of Cancer, EORTC, and of the board of the European Society of Medical Oncology, ESMO. Dr. Aapro chaired the scientific and organizing committees in UICC, International Union Against Cancer, World Cancer Congress of 2008 in Genoa and 2010 in China. He is a member of the ESMO faculty and chaired the ESMO 2018 Supportive and Palliative Care track. Dr. Aapro is honorary editor of Critical Reviews in Oncology and Hematology, and editor of the Journal of Cancer Policy, as well as associate editor for the geriatric section of the Oncologist. He is also founding editor of the Journal of Geriatric Oncology. He is past associate editor for Annals of Oncology, continuing on its editorial board, and member of several other editorial boards, including ESOS, School of Oncology, Cancer World. He has authored more than 350 publications, and his major interests are new drug development, breast cancer, cancer in elderly patients, and supportive care. Dr. Aapro is Dr. Honoris Causa of the University of Tampere and honorary member of the Russian Society for Clinical Oncology. He has received the 2010 Acta Oncologica Award, the 2012 ASCO B.G. Kennedy, I think Burl James Kennedy Prize, and the MASCC Distinguished Service Award in 2016. Welcome, Dr. Aapro, Professor Aapro, and I'm giving the microphone and assign to you to listen your interesting presentation.
Thank you very much, Ahmet. Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here with you with these modern means of communication. The only important point that you missed in my CV, Ahmet, is that if I'm here, it's because I really care about your society, ESOP, which I have learned to know a little bit more thanks to my dear friend and the presently president of yours, Klaus Meier. So the European Cancer Organization has just started. This is the day we started our new website. So you have here a page of our new website, which is the one dedicated to COVID-19 resources. The European Cancer Organization has 28 member societies, one of them being your society. And we have been putting together on a specific area of the website all the possible information that we receive so that in one area you can find a lot of information. Of course, this needs to be updated constantly. So let me go to the next slide. Click, there we go. And the next one, will really show one point that I would like to discuss, already very nicely shown by the fantastic survey that you are conducting throughout the world, is that the COVID situation, while it is universal, it's a very diverse problem. So I'm showing you the map of a very, very small country, Switzerland, where I work. I work on the left area here of Switzerland called GE, Geneva and Vaud, which is quite red. That means we have, proportionately to the population, the biggest amount of COVID positive patients, maybe because we have been screening for them even with very limited clinical symptoms, which might not have been the case elsewhere in Switzerland. And that is certainly one of the issues we face today, is that the data we receive depends very much on what you are looking for. And also, and that is the reason I have put the Swiss chart here, I could have put the chart of many other countries. The situation is extremely diverse in the countries. If you take, for example, Italy, which is very dear to my heart because my wife is Italian, I have lots of family in Italy. Some of the northern areas, as you know, Lombardy being one of them, have been dramatically hit by COVID. If you go to the south, the situation is much easier, even though, unfortunately, they also have been hit. So it's extremely difficult today to say about one country. We have to look here at the regions in the countries, and this is true for all the countries throughout the world, as far as I understand it. So I had the opportunity just a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, to participate in one of the many webinars that deal with the impact of COVID in the cancer area. And I'm grateful for preparation of these slides to the staff of the European Cancer Organization, and especially to Richard Price. I will go first through the impacts as we see them from ECCO perspective. And I'm certain that there's nothing really new for you in what we are saying here. Maybe the perspective that we give to it is somewhat different. We know that there have been major negative impacts. Some of these could have been avoided, and I will come to this point later during my presentation. We know that the prevention programs, including the vaccination programs, have been either halted completely or slowed down in a dramatic way in many countries. We know that the screening programs have also been either halted completely or slowed down dramatically in many countries. And there's going to be a strategy needed for catch-up. And I've heard today in another webinar that this strategy in many countries will not be possible. So there's going to be a delay in the screening, and this might mean, I'm not saying it will, but it might mean, unfortunately, some late diagnosis. And the early diagnosis, not only for cancer, we should also remember that there are other diseases, and you as pharmacists know that extremely well, is being delayed because the patients have been told in many countries to stay at home, not to go to see the doctors, not to go to the hospitals. Maybe in some countries this might have been the right solution, but in many others, there has been a fantastic network of general practitioners and other healthcare providers who were put on a halt because of government decisions. And now, for example, cardiac patients are paying the price as there has been a dramatic increase in the number of avoidable myocardial issues in the past few weeks. I know that as a fact because the Clinical Journal where I work has a very strong cardiology unit. And everyone is worried. We don't have the full data yet. It will take several months to have the full data on whether or not the elective surgery delays, the radiation therapy delays, the medical therapy delays, and you alluded to the point of drug shortage, are going to affect, yes or no, the outcomes of our cancer patients. The quality of the data will very much depend on the work of the cancer registries. And we know that in some countries throughout the world, we have superb registries. In other countries, these registries, unfortunately, don't have the correct methodology. We'll have to be very careful when we look at the numbers that will be reported in understanding how they were collected and who collected them at which point in time. And obviously, all of this has a huge impact on the quality of life of all patients. And of course, our interest is in cancer patients. Also, the cancer patients that unfortunately are terminally ill have been affected and their families by the fact that what is needed around those dramatic times has been either impossible or very difficult for the patients and for the families. And we are also remembering that many have now had an impact on the employment. And this is something that the society will have to face in the next few months. How are we going to recover? How resilient are our societies with these issues? And we know that some are very resilient and others are buried in a huge amount of paperwork that will slow down considerably all the efforts to come out of this dramatic, also economical crisis. We know that trials have not been recruited. And whether this is important or not can always be debated, because many say, well, when a trial is about a drug that is are not that important. But how do we know in advance that the drug is really important before we have the right results? You already alluded to in the very nice survey that you are doing about the shortages of protective measures for the personnel. And this has been an issue in many countries where, unfortunately, the personnel has been put to work in situations which put them at risk. And we know, for example, in a country which is, as I said, very dear to my heart, in Italy, unfortunately, many of my colleagues have died in Italy because they were not sufficiently protected. And this is something that really should never, ever happen again. And finally, we at ECCO have realized that the patient organizations and many of our societies have been financially impacted. And we have therefore made a call, and I will come back to this in a couple of minutes, for some support that is needed in this situation, because the work that we all are doing, and especially our voluntaries are doing, it needs to be supported by a minimal amount of support which has been lost at this point in time. So how can we go forward? I think that this is one example, is the video conference, is the sharing of the data. What you have done so nicely, you have started to collect the data in order to have, and Klaus alluded to that very clearly, real data and not the fake news or the news which are distorted by the way that they are reported. We need to have a much better public communication. I think that many of the patient organizations have clearly put it forward that unfortunately information to the patients has been insufficient. Information to the population has not been of the level that you would have expected from the very sophisticated European societies and even from less sophisticated societies. There has been undue anxiety among patients. And I'll give you just one example. When they started communicating in Switzerland, I'm not criticizing anyone else, but my own country in which I live, and of which I'm a citizen, the first communication was that cancer patients were at risk. So what that meant that we had in all centers, we were flooded by calls of patients saying, oh God, I'm going to die very soon. So this was awful. Of course, it was corrected within a few days, but it should never have happened. And we need guidance on how we can move forward, how we can get back to normality. I'm a strong believer in the European Union. I know that it has made mistakes in the past. Today it will make mistakes in the future. If we look at what the European Union has brought to most countries in Europe, it has been quite remarkable. And I'm certain that now we will go away from the era where health was protected as a national treasure to the understanding that in some settings, we have to work all together. So we have to learn. We have to learn now. We don't have to learn in a few months from now. And I know that the efforts are ongoing. about the better cooperation that is needed. There has been a call for this by our EU Health and Food Commissioner, my dear friend Stella Kyriakides. We have to work together. We have to see what we have done wrong, what we have done right, and do it much better. And finally, as I said, the European Cancer Organization has suggested that we need to reorient a little bit the packages and realize that it's not only aviation and tourism that need efforts, but it's also not only the health sector treating patients, but also the health sector that helps think about the best ways to treat patients, like your organization, for example. Sorry, this system has a little bit of the problem. So finally, I would like to close this by inviting all of you to think of the European Cancer Summit 2020. I know that the information towards your society is flowing very nicely from the European Cancer Organization, thanks to the effort of Klaus and many others. And I look forward to seeing many of you at our meeting in Brussels, hopefully person to person face, or if not, we will organize a virtual meeting following the tracks of many other societies. So thank you very much for having invited me to share a few thoughts about the present crisis with you.
Thank you so much, Matti. It was very clear, very open, very fruitful session. Thank you for sharing us your knowledge and experience with us. When you are speaking, I was collecting the questions, and we have a few questions for you. I want to ask one by one. The first question came from our listeners is there a plan at ECCO to extend the shelf life of the medication? We know from long-term studies that the period of 5 years is far too short. What do you think about this?
Well, let me first answer that ECCO's remit as an umbrella organization is not to look at what is the expertise of its members. Shelf life of drugs is the expertise of pharmacists, of the hospitals, is the expertise of you, is the expertise of the companies. But you are absolutely right. We know, and there have been many publications and comments about this, that the shelf life of many drugs is much longer, provided they are conserved in correct ways, than what is the announced expiration date. So clearly, this is an area in which there could be some move, and we should have a better approach to this while maintaining the safety for all of our patients in the terms of activity of the drug and no toxicity due to some modification of the formula during the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are right. Thank you for the answer. Okay, for the second question, one moment. With COVID-19, huge budgets started to be devoted to this issue, to COVID-19. Previously, this budget was devoted to cancer treatments and cancer medications. What do you think about the effects of this situation on the development of cancer drugs and possible patient losses?
Well, this is a very important question indeed. I am not within the center of the European Union talks, but I can tell you what has been discussed in public, both by the chief of the Commission of Health, Stella Kyriakides, and the directorates of the DG Santé, for example. We have been told that actually there's going to be, on request of Ursula von der Leyen, a major overhaul of the way that the finances of the European Union are going to be dealt with. There's going to be a huge amount of money, of course, that will be dedicated to the COVID crisis and all the situations that this COVID crisis has been bringing to all the European countries. But within this, we also know that the amount dedicated to cancer itself is actually going to increase considerably compared to the amount that was in the previous budgets of the European Union, thus keeping faith to what was the promise of Ursula von der Leyen, one of her plans when she became the head of the Commission.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Very clear. One question more. There are different opinions about diagnostic of neutralizing antibodies, COVID-19, because immune system doesn't have response in asymptomatic cases. So what do you think of mass serology screening?
That's a very important question, and I'm not there answering as the ECCO president because I don't have an expertise, but I'm answering there as a physician who has read, and probably some of you might even have read more than I have about this particular situation. Presently, the official position in Switzerland at least, is that the different types of serologies which are available are unreliable. They either are underdiagnosing, they are overdiagnosing, we don't know really what they actually mean, and therefore it is suggested that they should be used only in the setting of specific research and not be done in order to give guidance to specific patients. We will certainly have more understanding about this in the next few weeks. What was very reassuring to me, and I just happened to read it this morning, was a communication that there are some data coming in to show that actually the way the virus is seen by the immune system is extremely similar to every single other virus that we know of. And therefore, it is very likely that, one, we will have reliable tests. We will understand which of the tests are really reliable in order to tell you that you are immune or not. And there's a huge chance that we will have very soon several vaccines, because as you know, there are at least 7 or 8 different ways of producing a vaccine that are now being tested, and the companies are all expanding on the capability to produce the vaccine as soon as they have positive data. So I'm an optimistic person, otherwise I'd not be a cancer doctor anyway.
You're trying to look optimistic, yes, thank you. And one more question, maybe the last question. The writer of this question is saying openly, this question specialized and coming from a pharmacist. And do you know a bit about the policy of the member societies in ECCO? What does they have unique in their mind and their goal?
Well, as I said, ECCO has 28 member societies and 17 patient associations, and they are all dealing with the COVID crisis. I think that the best answer that I could give to you is that we have tried, thanks to Agnesa Bolina from my team in Brussels, to collect from all of these societies what they are doing, what they have been put in the public about the COVID-19 crisis. And this is on our website. Of course, once again, some of that information might be outdated and needs to be updated. But I think everyone is trying with its capability to respond to the crisis. And I must say that I admire a lot the work that some of the patient organizations have done in order to overcome the lack of adequate communication by the governments.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a very clear answer.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. I think I finished the question, came from the attendees. It was a very nice night, and you add lots of things to our knowledge, and thank you very much for your effort. Before I giving the microphone to Klaus to say a few sentences before the closing, I shared with you on the group chat a link. This link is a questionnaire about this night. Before going out, please fill this form. It will be very good for us to see where are we. And Klaus, do you want to say a few sentences to us before closing the session?
Yes. At first, I want to thank Matti that he made it able to come to us after a long day of work with patients, and thanks a lot for it. It shows that the multi-professional collaboration is the main pillar for the best support of patients, and that's what we are fighting for. And I'm very proud that our society is since more than 17 years a strong pillar as well in the European Cancer Organization to help out and to show up. And I know that our followers, Miriam and Marco, are doing a quite good, very good work to do this follow-up, and we are engaged in the project of ECCO. I just want to thank you in this way very much, Matti, and I'm sure that our collaboration will have some more steps in the future, and that makes me proud as well. I thank all you have been participating, around 30 people now still online. And I want not to finalize when I want to announce to you that we are going ahead again to send out questionnaire number 7 this week. And I'm very happy that we will have some followers from areas they have not been participating in the past. As well, I want to announce that we are going ahead to have the jour fixe again next Monday. This will be at 7:30 Central European summertime, 1 hour earlier, and this will be then Professor Alain Assier will be there, and he will talk with us about all new news about vaccination against COVID, so that we learn a little bit what's going on, what kind of relationship that will be to have to pharmacists as well, and what does it mean, will we have more free living after this circumstance, or will we have a global fight between countries who are looking forward to have it at first and for them own. And as well, the next then is Panther code is then in between. Then we have some difficulties. That's why we go on the next one, the 8th of June. The 8th of June will be then a Monday as well as 7:30, and there will be then a colleague from the University of Gießen, a German guy, Jürgen Barth, many of you know him. He will talk about from fake and obfuscated news to primarily facts, recidifying the infodemic, and will give us a chance for self-selection, because he will deliver then also the evidence reflections and the connecting DOI data, that everybody can have his own opinion to this, will us warm up. I think it's a good issue, because you know that the fake data will follow up a lot in the future, and we have to be prepared to make sure that there will be no misregulation in the meantime. So this will be the next steps. I invite you today as well to these meetings, and thanks a lot that you have been attended, and have a nice evening for everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much for everyone. I'm closing the session, and have a nice night. Stay safe and be healthy. Bye-bye.